Psalms 37, verses 12 to 15. The wicked plots against the just, and gnash upon him with his teeth. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he sees that his day is coming. The wicked draws out the sword and bends their bow to cast down the poor and needy, to slay such as be upright in conversation. Their sword shall enter their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. Everybody knows, that's how it goes. Everybody knows. Come together right now over me. Those two songs are beautiful. They are the opposite of each other. One predicting a dark outcome, a spiral downwards, a destruction, and the second speaking about hope and a coming together, a construction. These two songs are diametrically opposed to one another. Now, I put out this video, which was Justice League, the box office indicates the hope, a sign of things to come. And it's interesting the response I got. And so what I want to do is show you that response. But I want to inspire you. So I want you to understand hope is a thing that occurs in the world we live in. Very rarely occurs in the presence of a world which is filled with hope. Very rarely hope appears where the world is filled with hope. Hope appears usually in the absence of hope. And the world we live in was shown by Zack Snyder on the screens in Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and now Justice League. In that world, people are skeptical, narcissistic, prone to fear, prone to hate. And even in the world of Wonder Woman, we saw this. What we call the darkness of mankind. And all of the DCEU movies were very, very clear that the world we live in is dark. Most of the news we see in the media is negative. The only news we get in the media that's positive is probably in sports and entertainment. And even in entertainment and sports, it's been darkened by all of these news of cheating and infidelity and so many other things. So we live in a dark world, which was reflected in BvS and in Justice League. Most people don't like to talk about a dark world. People like to escape from it. They like to run away to the movies to get cotton candy and laugh, hee hee ha ha, to escape their pain, to escape their fears, to escape their hate, to be soothed. Just like drug addicts try to escape the world through drugs. Just like people who are addicted to sex try to escape the world through pornography and through child molestation. A lot of times these horrible, horrendous acts of terrorism, of assault and criminal behavior from disjointed minds, it happens because people are trying to escape this dark world. They can't cope with it. It's a coping mechanism. Thor Ragnarok is doing so well because it not only gives a good message, superficial but good, but it's detached from our world. Not only is it detached from our world, but it's ridiculously detached from our world. People like to escape. They want to run away to the movies, fill themselves up with popcorn. But Zack Snyder says, no. You will see our world. You will face our world. When I gave the China box office predictions for, well, not predictions, sorry, these are facts. China's box office for Justice League. These were the responses I got. Arpoon's Way. I guess he's a gentleman from Asia, possibly India, Pakistan, I don't know, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka maybe, I don't know. I hope I don't misjudge you, Arpoon, but I do think, just based on your emoji and also your name, that you come from those areas. I could be horribly wrong. You could be from the Middle East, for all I know. Persian. He said, on that same time frame, Doctor Strange made more, around 102 million at the Chinese box office. You got to compare the number with other numbers to see the real picture. I'm going to safely bet that it won't reach Doctor Strange number worldwide for a Justice League movie. That's embarrassing. Well, you see that all Arpoon can see is darkness. He can see negative things. And his spin is entirely negative about this, even though it's a positive spin for the DCEU. This is the highest grossing DCEU movie in China. And that's a fact. But Arpoon could only see the negative. That Doctor Strange made more. And that's good that Doctor Strange made more. But that's not the point. Royal Wakefield. It's not as simple as fans versus critics. They have shades themselves. I consider myself a DC fan because I like those characters more than most, but I think the movie sucked. I love the prior movies and would rate them as follows. And he goes on to rate them. What I'm finding since the release of Justice League and going through reviews and all is that there's a bias in fans who don't confidently endorse this film and even 118 on their initial positive review. Frankly, I hope people are telling the truth within themselves when it comes to rating Justice League, because I cannot see too much likable moments in it, as well as it losing appeal because of the lack of connectivity to the previous movies, the drop in epicness and scale and loss of philosophical dialogue, and being replaced by garbage, really. Again, darkness, a negative prognosis. This person cannot see anything hopeful. He cannot see light, and this is what this person is speaking about. His despair is because Joss Whedon clearly has replaced Zack Snyder on the movie, and he's willing to believe anything that's negative about Joss Whedon and Warner Brothers in, I guess, cutting up Zack Snyder's vision. He's not willing, he's not open-minded to hearing anyone say anything else, even though Trent Osborne did an excellent job of showing him the light of day in that whole thing. But the point is, darkness. Notice you're not seeing anything positive. You're not seeing anything that is constructive. Nobody's giving positive possibilities. So no one has hope. Hope is positive possibilities. Everybody's watching the trend that plays out, and they are giving negative possibilities. Even though I highlighted a positive possibility because of a positive outcome. Let's go on to the next person. And all of these people just came out of the blue and decided to comment. So I said something positive. Stanley Lee says it's a flop. It's not a flop. As you can see, I answered him. It's not a flop. But it has a rough start. It has a rough start. 3 weekends in, 2 weeks in, and it's had a rough start. Chris R. says it's doing good in China, but not everywhere else. The movie should have easily made 850 to 900 million. Well, you don't make 850 and 900 million in 2 weeks, 3 weekends. It never happens that way. And it's on its way to making $1 billion. Just that it's had a rough start, and it has to catch itself and pick up steam as it's doing now. But it looks like it will end at around 700 million. So he's become a predictor as well. He's looking at trends, current trends, mind you, and he's predicting that it'll reach 700 million. I do enjoy a positive spin on it, though. Again, he thinks he's a realist by saying this, but again, you have to understand it's whether you can hope or not. You see, you have to hope. And some people will say, well, I'm hoping it does well. Yeah, you may be hoping it does well, but you're not really hoping, because you immediately have discounted the possibility that it actually could turn around and start picking up momentum on itself. And I think that's what everybody is not seeing. And it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to see it right now. See, like I was telling him here, there's light, but the clouds block you from seeing it up in the sky. I quoted the last words that Louis Lane said. Up in the sky points to hope. Hope shines like a beacon of light, or like stars in the sky. But if the sky is cloudy, you can't see the stars. You can't see the shining hope in the sky. And that's what's happening with these people. They've lost sight of hope. And it's beautiful because Superman says hope is like a river. It comes and it goes. And for some people, their hope is going. In this movie, doing well. And I just want to tell you guys, if you go and watch BvS, there's a certain scene in BvS where after Superman has left the bombing, people go to the streets and they have these dolls of Superman and they're on fire, and you hear the people yelling out, "No hope! No hope! No hope!" No hope. And we begin Justice League after Superman is dead, and we see a hopeless world, a world spiraling downwards into darkness. And that's the opportunity Steppenwolf wanted, to come back, because people were filled with fear and hate. In fact, it got to the point where there was a terrorist act happening in London, and Wonder Woman finally stopped it. And when the terrorist couldn't believe, after he fired off rapid fire with his machine gun, that Wonder Woman blocked everything and saved all the people, he said, "I can't believe it. What are you?" And she says, "What? A believer." See, in the real world, hope exists in darkness. You have to dare to hope in spite of everything you see around you. And this is a learning point for all of you watching this video, whoever sees it. Don't let appearances fool you. Keep hope alive. Now you understand how difficult it was for Superman to hope in the face of everything going wrong. He hoped the best for mankind and was to be the symbol of hope. And yet he couldn't stop the bombing that happened in the Capitol building. And he lost hope for a minute. Hope is like a river. It comes and goes. But it comes back. And that's what Louis Lane was talking about at the end of the movie. It's like a beacon of light. It comes back. Didn't hope die with Superman? And didn't Bruce Wayne carry that hope? And that hope is what brought him back. All you need is a little trickle of light in a building. It makes a big difference. Because people can at least see a little bit. But you can't see if there's no hope. And so Chris R., Stan Lee, Royal Wakefield, what a wonderful name, and Arpoon. I know you can't see the possibility of this movie doing well at the box office. But it's possible. It's more possible today than it was yesterday. And trends and figures, as we all know from the last election, do not tell you the total story. They monitor certain things. But there are other factors that are not taken into account. Like I said, what happened in China is a sign of things to come. And you will understand what I'm saying when they start to materialize. But until then, I wanted you guys to see that the world that Zack Snyder painted is our world. A world of skepticism. A world of narcissism. A world where there's a lot of negative news. A world where hope is a precious commodity. But there are people who hope. There are believers out here. And that's why I hope, in spite of everything that you see in front of you, this movie will do well at the box office. It's got a little shaky start, but we're working hard to ensure that it makes it. And there's a lot of us out here who loved this movie, and a lot of us who like this movie. But we're not coordinated. And we don't know that we need to express our love for this movie. But I've seen them on Twitter. I've seen them on Facebook. I see you guys. I see you. I see even you media people who are inspired by these videos. I see you. And I know you hope too. Let's hope together. And let's act on that hope. And let's become believers. Because we can do great wonders. Jarrell said to Kal-El, they'll stumble, they'll fall, but in time, they'll join you in the sun. In time, they'll do wonders. You guys have a great one.